Are you a business owner stuck in fear, doubt, and worry about what the marketplace will look like in the future? Then this show is for you. Strap on your seatbelt and get ready to disrupt and innovate. Here's your host, Lisa Levy.
Get ready to buckle up for another electrifying ride on the Disrupt and Innovate podcast. Today, we're turning up the science and innovation dial as we welcome the incredible Sanjay Giridharan to our show. Sanjay is a founder of SciReach and an aspiring astronomer. He's a student innovator and environmentalist with a string of prestigious awards to his name, including the Top 11 International Entrepreneur Award and multiple honorary doctorates. Sanjay is a true prodigy in the world of science and innovation. Join us as we delve into his journey as a trailblazer in the fields of science and technology and his unwavering commitment to making the world a more sustainable place. Don't miss this opportunity to gain insights from one of the brightest young minds of this generation. Sanjay, welcome to the conversation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sanjay Giridharan. I'm a student in Arizona State University. I'm an aerospace engineering major. So I'm majorly focused on innovations as well as entrepreneurship. So I had innovated a device named MEPUP 15,000, which produces an electricity output of 15,000 watt, which is enough to generate and power, provide electricity to the entire home. Um, it harvests energy from solar, thermal, electromagnetic radiation, wind from the factory exhaust, as well as it purifies the air from the factory exhaust. So it is a climate mitigating project. And I had got awards from Harvard University, Indian Institute of Technology, Toshiba for that. And currently my innovation is under the process of incubation. So it would be released to the market soon so that we can see it into action. And I had also innovated an ADAS stick, which guides blind, visually impaired people through the AI technology. And I had also innovated a wave cleaning robot, which harvests the power of wave and cleans the ocean plastics, which is one of the major problems today. So it cleans out the microplastics and all the kind of plastics, as well as it uses wax forms to biodegrade the plastics. So it is a completely uh, viable product, and it is also under the incubation, so we can see it in action soon. And the other thing I'm going on now is the SciReach Foundation. I'm a co-founder of SciReach. So we focus on educating underprivileged students uh, to the STEM concept. So we are currently operating in Africa, India, and America. So we reached around 10,000 plus students right now, and we are guiding most of the students on the innovation and focus on research-driven education.
Sanjay, the reach of what you're doing is very broad. We've talked about astronomy. We've talked about microplastics in the ocean. We're talking about STEM and education across the world. What is the catalyst in your life that has made you so driven on science and innovation and sustainability and bringing all of that together?
The ability to solve a problem is the major focus, the major catalyst that drives me. Whenever I see a problem, my mind says I should be one who should work on that problem. Or is this problem? So whenever I see a problem, I also something comes under me saying that you have to work in that, you have to focus on that, you have to solve that, or you have to at least try to solve the problem. So I found a various ways where the problem can, how the problem can be solved. So and then I research various books, study books, and there is a lot of internet, open source internet right now in this world, and AI, everything. So I use these technologies to solve the problem. That's the major catalyst that drives me.
That I love that there's AI everything right now, because
Yeah.
there absolutely is. In my conversations with entrepreneurs over time, and I guess even in my own journey, right, solving a problem is so incredibly key and critical for For many people, right, I use the analogy of the Rubik's Cube, right? We just have to keep
Yeah.
turning and twisting and getting the dials, right? We have to undo the mess
Yeah.
for those of you who are listening, not watching, right? I'm showing the Rubik's Cube sort of all messed up and jumbled because as innovators, solving the problem is so key to what drives us and gives us purpose on our mission. Sanjay, let's talk a little bit about SciReach and the education. You said you've got about 10,000 students in Africa, India, and in America.
Yeah.
What does that experience look like for them?
So the students are, we perform a psychometric analysis to the students. So we don't directly start to teach the students. We start to analyze the students first, their interests, their strengths, their weakness, their abilities. And then we had a personal, and if the student requires a personalized mentor, we would be providing them, or else we would be teaching them in general. So we would be performing psychometric tests to analyze their interests first, and then we would be starting to introduce them to a fundamentals of their interest. So, for example, if they are interested in robotics and they don't know how to do that or how to start, so we would be starting focusing on their fundamentals first. So, in Africa, mostly they don't have an access to internet, or they are very underprivileged. That they have interest, they have passion, but they don't know how to start it, or they don't have enough resource for that. So we would be providing them resources, and we have some partnerships with the African Connection Pro non-profit organization in the Africa. So we would be guiding them to provide some resources, and we would be engaging the students with hands-on activities. So, for example, if we start to teach robotics, we don't just teach it theoretically. We provide the resources to them, and then we will guide them to solve a particular real world problem based on what we teach. So that's how we approach the students. So we got a lot of positive responses from the students, and then our students had made around 15 plus innovations, and they are being patented right now, and they have published 50 plus research research papers in a peer-reviewed journals.
Sanjay, I'm curious about the demographics of the students. So, kind of what age ranges are you working with?
So we are working with the students with age range of around 8 to 25. The
Wow,
students of middle school to the college students.
through college. And
Yeah.
in the 10,000 students that you have enrolled, do you have a pretty even distribution of male to female students?
We have more female students than male students right now. Yeah, because we focus on the women empowerment too. So
Okay.
the innovations out of the 15 innovations made, most of the 11 innovations were made by the women students,
Mhm.
and and the peer-reviewed published papers were distributed equally. 50% was done by the male students and the 50% by the female.
Okay, so let me talk for a moment about the disruption and all of this, especially because the audience that listens to this is a predominantly American audience.
Mm.
So Sanjay has built an educational program that is nurturing and guiding young students from the ages of 8 to 25. Demographics of that student base are the majority of them are female, and it is exclusively focused really in the STEM categories. So the US paradigm that girls are bad at math and science is being blown up with huge explosives because
Mm.
the reality is this group of students are writing publishing research papers and driving innovations in multiple areas. So Sanjay, you've turned an old mindset about education upside down and proven it false. That is so exciting to
Sure.
me, an old woman who was told girls are bad at math and science.
And my co-founder Anshu Roja Selvamani, she's also focusing on women empowerment. So since we have a collaborative mindset, we are open-minded to every student we get.
I absolutely love that. So as you're building, and 10,000 students is a big number. How long have you been building to get to that number?
Uh, 3 years,
3 years. Okay.
3 years,
So
yeah.
in 3 years, what are some of the obstacles that you've faced to get to where you're at?
First, obstacle or the hindrance we faced is getting one student for our organization so that we can. So we approached various schools. First, we started in India. I went to various government schools in India and then asked for students, but nobody was interested in us because we are new to the market and we are young students, as well as they don't believe us in our model, the education model. That's so since we are focused on the theoretical way of education, when we come started saying that we can do something that applies to the real world problem, they don't believe us. They said it requires a lot of time, a lot of money, etc. But
Mm.
we believed in us. We went on searching for various students in various different schools. Luckily, we found one government school where the teacher was interested in us, and they sent their class students to us. So we started teaching them. Once they got more interested into the science based on our teaching, they told to various other students. So it went on like a bell curve. So the 50 became 100. So
Mm.
the one became 50, 50 became 100. And then we started to publish in the internet and social media websites. And then we got more and more students.
So really, you've created an educational movement,
Yeah.
right? And so the momentum is just really starting. So 10,000 becomes 30,000, becomes 75,000, becomes,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm.
the growth and the exponential growth of it at this stage can be really, really impactful. What are two or three of the major goals that you're really looking to achieve? What's the purpose behind this? What's the impact you want to leave with SciReach?
The major impact I want to leave is to maintain a gender balanced equation education. So irrespective of the gender or irrespective of the background or irrespective of the financial stability, everyone to gets the opportunity to be educated. So no matter what, because education is the key for some development. So if we don't learn, we can't progress ourselves. So we want to educate as many students as possible and then make them to solve the real world problems. So if lots of students gets educated on the science STEM background, most of them would apply to the real world problems and most of the real world problems would be solved. So that's our main goal in this.
And if you were to look 5 years into the future, how big is the impact of SciReach? Where are you
Uh,
headed? What's the trajectory?
so we hope to establish our SciReach in more than 10 countries, want, and then reach millions of students because we have to aim for the stars. We have to reach millions of students so that, and we have to not just reaching them, we have to make them involved in the STEM education, and then they want we want them to pursue a career in the STEM education, STEM background, and then apply their skills to solve the real world problems and solve various environmental, space, and different problems as possible.
So, with the reach in 5 years, looking at 10 countries, ultimately millions of students, and the problems and the reach of the impact is across almost every industry, and any way that we can think about ways of breaking old paradigms and innovating to the future. And for you in particular, the reach into space is important.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. One of the other things that you talked a little bit about is you have multiple things in place. SciReach is probably the biggest. The others are currently being incubated. Talk to us a
Yeah.
little bit about where that's happening.
So few of my innovations which are MEPUP 15,000, a hybrid energy harvester with air purifier and ADAS walking stick, which helps visually impaired people in guiding their pathways through AI companion, and the ocean wave cleaner are being incubated at India. So once we are we got patent, but we have to start the incubation process so that I can make it into a product, market ready product, and then see it in action. So everything is going on in India right now. once it started in India, I can make it global.
Absolutely. So SciReach is in multiple countries. We've got 3 countries right now. The product that will help visually impaired people with AI assistance is
I come,
incubating in
yeah,
India, and
yeah,
microplastics also in India. So you have
India.
lots of different pieces of ideas that you're testing and exploring and improving upon. Part of innovating is trying things and getting unexpected results, right? We have
Yeah.
failures along the way. Do you have an example that you can share with the audience of something that you thought was a brilliant idea that just simply didn't work?
Yeah, the basic of SciReach is that I started an organization named Code 369 initially, which was I started when I was in high school. So I thought it was a brilliant idea, so I could reach everyone, every students as possible. Uh, so my main goal was to make them transform themselves into reform themselves with a science-based education. So my model initially was just to teach them whatever I learned. So I thought that was a brilliant idea, but it failed. But I got one success in that we broke a Guinness record in solving most people solving Rubik's Cube in within a minute. I learned solving Rubik's Cube. I wanted to teach others, so I taught my students in the school, and then we broke a Guinness World Record of most number of students solving Rubik's Cube within 1 minute. But after that, I wanted to learn more and I want to teach more. But I don't know how. So I started to teach the students whatever I learned. So that was like a failure model. And then I learned from the failure on how to teach, on how to communicate with other students, on how to make them solve real world problems or apply their learning into the real world. And then we started the SciReach, myself and co-founder started the SciReach organization, and then we are progressing now.
Okay, so that I
Mhm.
love the connection to all of that because in the United States in particular, we fear failure. It is cultural and it is seen as something that is bad. And the reality is that learning requires failure. And
Yeah.
we learn more from the things that don't work. And if we are truly embracing innovation, we are experimenting, we are doing things, we are trying to teach, we are teaching how to solve a Rubik's Cube and building and trying to build a model of learning on that fell short, failed
Yeah.
to give the results that you wanted, but you learned from it and applied it to the next thing, which is SciReach.
Yeah.
And that is such a beautiful way to kind of tie the idea of the innovation journey and entrepreneurship together for this audience. Sanjay, thank you so much. If people are interested in learning more, where should they go to learn more about you or the SciReach program?
So we have a website says SciReach.net, SciReach.net. And if they want more information, they can contact me through LinkedIn. My name is Sanjay Giridharan, so they can reach out to me on the LinkedIn. Sure.
Absolutely. And for the listeners in the audience, right, those links will be in the show notes so it's easy for you to find him. Sanjay, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a great conversation and inspiring that you started this journey in high school and there are no boundaries on your hopes and your dreams and the impact that you want to make. For my audience, you know my rules. Don't get left behind. Join me next time.
That's it for today's episode of Disrupt and Innovate. Head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Every single week, one lucky listener that posts a review on iTunes will win the grand prize drawing, a $15,000 private VIP day with Lisa Levy. And be sure to head over to disruptandinnovate.com and get your free copy of Lisa's gift. And join us on our next episode.